And let me tell you a little bit about what I remember, to be honest with you. We had a get the ball back situation at the end where we put 207. The offense is up by 1. Defense got to get the ball back, obviously. And then whatever's left over, whether you have 1 timeout, 2 timeouts, whatever you do, you punt the ball if you can get the ball back. And then the 2s go out and they run a 2-minute situation with the offense at that point being down a point and trying to go get the field goal. In both of those situations where it was 1 started in a lead on offense, both those situations, the defense won both of those situations, which was good to see, to be honest with you. I'm not rooting for the offense or defense, but I thought the defense played a lot better today than they did last week, which is a lot of times you say that and you go, well, the offense didn't play very well. That's not the case. I just thought the defense made more plays, made the close plays more this week than they did last week. We still have some details. I think we've got a pretty good football team. When you have problems on the football team is when they won't run to the ball, when they won't strain on their blocks, when you don't have talent to throw or catch it, when you don't have talent to cover somebody. Those are when you have problems on the football. When you have guys that don't want to be on the team and are problems in the locker room. That's when you have problems in a locker room or on a team, and we don't have that. So everything we are doing, we can fix if we have, and it's just the little details. We had some offsides on the offensive line. We had a hard time on offense protecting at times. There was a lot of good things as well on offense, but those details, we got beat deep a couple of times on some balls. Those details, technique and things that we've got to get better at, but we don't have a problem with unity and we don't have a problem with chasing the ball and straining on offense. So I think we're going to continue to get better. This is kind of with school starting. This is kind of where we wanted to be. We're a little beat up on the offensive line. Kudus ran with the 2 centers today, which Kudus is really our 6th center. To be honest with you, but he did a nice job. Had a couple of snap problems, but other than that, he did a pretty good job. So with that, if y'all have questions, I'll try to answer them as best I can.
Coach, just your thoughts on KJ's play and Malik too, just quarterbacks in general after KJ.
I can't remember. Kyle, help me here. I can't remember an interception. I don't think we had an interception. The things that we had, we had some balls on the ground as far as the snaps. But I thought KJ controlled the offense. He's your leading rusher on the team, and you never run him in camp. You know what I mean? Now he's doing his reads and he can run. If anybody's even halfway close to him, the play's dead and all that. I think you're going to see a much different offense. What I'm excited about is he can throw and we can catch, and we're still, when we hand the ball off, we're still having success. And he's just getting better all the time. He really is, and I know probably all say that, but he's getting better. He's throwing the ball better. He's taking care of the ball, and everybody on the field knows that he's the guy. And so I've been really proud of him. He's night and day from what he was confidence-wise a year ago at this time. We really didn't know what we had, to be honest with you, Trey, going into the Rice game last year, but we do this year. Well, I've got them right here. And it looked like Sanders, he had a 30-yard catch. Some of these were down in the red area. Backs caught a touchdown. Bakke, that was really a good play there. Matter of fact, Landers caught a touchdown. McAdoo caught a touchdown. He had another 25-yard catch. KJ had a touchdown run. Thompson had a 25-yard catch from KJ. Rocket had a 15-yard run. Those are things Keytron caught a 25-yard touchdown from Malik. It was really a good play. I thought sack-wise, I know Landon Jackson was all around the quarterback all day. Dorian Gerald flashed again. I tell you who made really a couple of really good plays was Jordan Dominique. He showed his speed, on the get the ball back. We were outside of him on offense, the quarterback, and he ran him down. Whether he tackled him or not, I don't know. He tagged him, but he's got some speed. He's really come a long way in 2 weeks. But we kicked the ball well today. Cam and Bates both kicked the ball well, punted the ball well, protected well. Going 2 weeks into it, I think we're in pretty good shape, but that's what Kyle wrote down. So if it's wrong, then you can get on him.
Coach, you started the first week of August. 2 weeks from today, you play Cincinnati. Are the receivers, did you ever think that the receivers would be where they're at today when you first started in August?
No. I mean, no. And that's a lot to do with their coaching with Coach Guyton, but also has a lot to do with them too. You can't just say, well, we went in the portal and we got Landers and Hazelwood because Jaden Wilson's better. Now he's beat up right now too, but Jaden Wilson's better. Warren Thompson is a lot better than what he was last year, and Keytron Jackson. So the strength coach and the way that they prepare, and just the kids who they are. But I never would have thought Warren Thompson would be the player that he is right now from a year ago. But that's credit to him. No, to answer your question, but
Where you at the cornerback position? I know it's corners. Where you at in that right now?
yeah, there's still a battle there with Malik and Nudie and Day Day. Really, maybe Day Day, Malik, Nudie. Obviously, Hudson's really played the best of all those guys throughout the first 2 weeks. And then Kyrie Johnson is playing better, playing a lot better, actually. And Keywan Parker would be the other guy in that mix who's getting better. I think he'll be really help us on special teams as well. Most all those guys will help us, but that's kind of where we're at. We have a kind of a three guy battle there with close 4 and 5, but with Nudie being close in that. But right now, we walked out there today with Day Day and Hudson Clark starting for us.
Coach, it sounds like last week there were a lot of explosive plays from the offense. Maybe not so much the
No,
scrimmage. Is that
yeah.
just a product better play by the defense, or how would you
Yeah.
assess that?
Well, I thought we pressured the quarterback better, today. Contested balls, we were better on defense than we were last week. We got big wideouts, but they were in better position, I thought, than they were. You never know. We did break a few runs. You don't know how far they would go really, but broke a few there. I'm sure we would have run them down on defense and played in the next first down, but there was a few openings in there. But overall, I think it's just because the defense played better. I don't really feel like the offense didn't play well. I just think our defense made key plays in there to get off the field.
You mentioned last week that Kutas was a guy you thought could make a push for the 2 deep, and you mentioned Kutas.
Oh, Kutas, yeah.
Yeah, he played center for you today. We've seen him at left and right guard. Just
He's
kind of,
been everywhere.
yeah. What have been your impressions of him being a guy that wasn't even an early enrollee?
Well, that's hard. I remember I had Andrew Thomas there. It came in at Georgia, ended up starting at right tackle by the first game. It's hard. It's harder when you're playing him in several positions. Now we've gotten in problems with some injuries, so we've had to move him. If he was just at one position right now, it would probably be left guard. in battling there with St. John would probably be where he would be, and that's where he was. And then we got beat up a little bit with Street on the ankle, and not long term, but so he had to move in there to center because the offensive line is probably the one spot that's been beat up the most so far. But he's done a great job. If you want to teach somebody how to play O-line, put him at center because he has to know everything at that point. He doesn't have to just know his spot. He has to know everything. He's kind of the quarterback up there. And I've always thought that that'd be a great place to play what you consider one of your best or your best young kid because he has to learn the game in there. And he's done a really good job. And he's starting on some special teams for us too. We're going to travel him and expect him to be in the 2 deep at some point.
KJ said yesterday he wanted to work on getting the ball out quicker. Did you feel like he had success with that today? And then how have you seen his accuracy improve?
Yeah, he's done that all spring, all fall, excuse me. And I think getting the ball out of your hands quicker has everything to do with knowing where to go to the ball pre-snap and going with the ball, whereas reads are much faster. If one's covered, I'm going there, but I don't know. You'd have to ask him, but I think a lot of times it was, I'm gonna go to one read, and if it's not open, I'm gonna find Burks, which has worked out pretty good, but this year, I think he understands coverages and the looks and all that. Therefore, he's getting the ball, and he's got a quicker release. But I think that's why he's throwing the ball faster. Fortin had to play the day today when he threw one. I don't know, kind of sidearm through for a little 5-yard touchdown there. And he's got a quick release, But KJ's doing a good job with that. I think it's just he's more comfortable.
Are you getting any clarity on kick and punt returns, or is it still kind of like last time we talked? There's still a lot of guys.
Well, not totally. I think AJ, somebody remind me, I forgot about him last time. I think AJ Green, Landers on the kickoffs, AJ Landers, Hazelwood still doing it back there. We've kind of taken Slusher off of that. Punt returns probably 14, 16, those are the two guys. 14, it's probably 14's job right now, Bryce's job right now. But Sategna's catching them, and Sategna's also returning kickoffs too. Obviously, when you talk about them, they're obviously moved up in the depth chart where you think they're going to play at another position as well. And I think he's earned that at the slot position. Him and Bryce are battling out. Sategna and Bryce battling out that number 2 position there.
You mentioned Landon Jackson and Jordan Dominic flash today. Just what kind of assets can they be, and what allows them to be productive?
Well, I don't really know the answer to that because, we really haven't ever gone to the ground, but I think they're better than they were 2 weeks ago, both of them, if that makes sense. Neither one of them played in the spring, so you're really learning about them. And I don't know how many practices today was, but I don't know, what is it? Was it 14 or something like that? So you kind of are learning a little bit more about them. It's like anything, until you know what you're doing, you really can't see a guy's athletic ability because he's always thinking all the time, and it slows him down. So I think both of them are getting comfortable with I think Barry's, maybe his last install was on Friday, but it's not the overwhelming volume that it's been before. I think the kids are starting to get comfortable with themselves in the position they are. And it takes a while to learn how we practice. I mean, it just takes a while. And then once you learn that and learn the expectations of practice, all that stuff is in your mind all the time. So I just think now they're relaxing and we're able to see their true athletic ability.
Sam, your line here, I think you said something to the extent of you want to know your top 8 linemen about 2 weeks out from the first game. Who would those be other than the 4 returning guys that you have?
Well, Jones, and then Tykees Crawford, and I would say Marcus Henderson if he was, and I would say Devin Manuel if he was healthy, but neither one of them are right now. I think that they will be, you know. And then after you get to 8, then there's, you know, there's a battle. And I'll tell you, I like Chambly. Chambly's done a nice job. I mean, for a young kid, he's done a nice job. But, you know, those would probably, that would definitely be your 8. And then, you know, 9, 10, you know, you're talking about St. John or Cudis, you know, at that spot. And then, you know, Street would be another guy and a Marion Harris. So after 8, we get pretty young. You know, that doesn't mean that we get bad. It just means that they're inexperienced.
A little bit right now. Is that a concern, or is it just kind of the normal thing that happens during this camp?
Well, I don't want it to be, you know, obviously, but camp's physical, you know, it just is. And none of them, we don't feel like any of them is going to be, we'll get some of them back next week and things that we don't think any of them won't be back by the week or hopefully by Thursday when we start our Cincinnati prep. I don't want them to be hurt, but right now it's not a major concern. With injuries, you always find out about somebody else because they move up a depth chart and then they play against better players. And you kind of find that's what happened to Davier. You know, he was on the 3s and then we had an injury with Miller and some guys, and he moved up. And we found out that, you know, he can go a little bit better than maybe what we thought against better competition. So I think it's going to make our team better. I don't want to go into the Cincinnati game with these guys beat up, but we, you know, whenever Thursday starts, we'll get honed in. I think they'll be back and we'll be ready to go.
Sam, how just Catalan's camp, you know, so far?
Man, it's been good. You know, makes a lot of plays. I don't know. He looks fast. I guess maybe he always looked fast, but man, he looks fast. Eyes seem to be in the right place all the time. Great leader. Him and Blair too. Blair's had an outstanding camp. A lot of them have, but you know, cats like he never missed a beat. You know, he did miss 7 games, I think, last year. He missed 6 and then the bowl game. But he's very confident, leading us well as Poole. And, you know, like I said before, we have 3 levels of leaders in there with Nichols and then Poole and then Catalan and of course Blair as well. But anytime you have 3 levels and three leaders on each level, you could pretty much have a pretty accountable defense and fly around the football, which we're doing.
Coach, is Latavius Brenny, is he coming on some at safety? It seems like he's not thinking as much. Now he's more reactive.
Yeah, he's made a lot more plays. That's a good question and certainly true. He's playing faster. He's kind of like probably throw him in the same boat as JD and Jackson. Doing a good job.
I had a question about your special teams last week. I think there was some line up and kicking off out of bounds. Was it better today?
Yes. We didn't have one out of bounds. I don't know. You remember what we did on the field goals? I think we missed 1, maybe 2 we might have missed 2 out of 9, I guess. We kicked 8 field goals and maybe an extra point or 2. I can't remember. But I thought we just missed 1, but Cal said we missed 2. So we must have missed 2.
Was it Lil or each one? All right. Yesterday, Kendall said that you guys want to get your conditioning in the running on and off the field.
Yeah.
So when did sprints at the end of practice go away? What's your take on that conditioning part of things?
In my mind, they went away in 1979 and on the practice field at Grove High School. My Lord, the guy's trying to kill us. Now, I don't know. You know, I really don't know. I don't know when it went away. I'm guessing here, okay, at least in my mind. A while back, you went and hauled hay, you roofed houses, you mixed mud for Arkansas Stone Homes, you did all this, you worked in the summer, and then football started and you went to football practice and you got in shape in the 4 weeks before the game. I'm not for sure if that's why you didn't part of it might have been the mental toughness part of it too. I'm not for sure if that's not why you ran sprints, because they didn't have any clue what you did in the summer, you know. Well, now you have an 8-week program in the summer. So you really never get out of shape, if that makes sense. Football shape is different than weight room shape, even though I think we do a wonderful job of position specific drills. It's like you go from football to basketball. Y'all that know, well, we don't have a lot of athletes in here. Bob, you probably did, but from football to basketball, and you run those suicides and you got them blisters and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, I know because I was a basketball player. And when that happens to you, you're not in that kind of shape. Well, to me, if we're busting our butt in Indy and we're running to the ball and we're running on off the field, we can get in shape because we never were truly out of shape, if that makes sense. So maybe that's when it started. I don't know.
We saw a set the other day with Dominion in the backfield with
Yeah.
Rocket. Is that going to go anywhere? What do you think?
Well, we like the set, obviously, depends on who we put out there with that. And more importantly, who you take off the field. If you add 2 backs, you got to take somebody off the field. And right now with what we feel our wideouts are doing, it's hard to take them off the field. You're either taking Knox off the field or Hazelwood or Landers or somebody that's, Warren that's pretty good. So, but we do like that set, and I'm sure that we'll use it at some point.
How did you come out health wise today? Any dings up?
No, I don't. Ricky had a little bit of an elbow, Stromberg. I think he just had a hyperextension, but other than that, I can't remember of anybody else that went out of the. We had nobody on the field. You know what I'm saying? So when I walked in here, I would say nobody but Ricky. I think Landon might have had a little bit of an ankle, but he's been fighting. I'm talking about Jackson. He's been fighting that ankle, but I think we came out pretty healthy.
School opening up and your roster being able to expand. Is anybody coming back like Marcus and what's Dominic? What's his status right now? Is he able to start practicing anytime soon?
Well, I hope so. We're going to look at him a little bit in Indy starting next week. And we'll just see where he is, big blow to us. I mean, I think he's a great running back. I really do. I think he's a really good running back. But we're going to look at him a little bit in some non-contact, see if he can do some things over bags and things that he's been doing it in the indoor, in his rehab. He looks great. So I don't know, Trey, to be honest with you. I think you'll probably know as much about it as I do when you come out to practice next week. You know what I mean? How he looks in his drills. And there was somebody else you said?
Marcus Miller and,
Miller.
Anybody you pulled out, I guess.
Miller, probably mid to late next week. Same way with Devin Manuel. He might be a week away. And then there was somebody else that's out that's hurt a little bit right now. I forget who it is.
Torian's out.
Who?
Torian.
Yeah, but that's going to be a minute. Marcus.
Yeah.
Marcus is going to start doing Indy. He's not going to do anything on live bodies until we, see him in Indy a little bit. But we anticipate him being ready for Cincinnati.
Was in here the other day saying he liked whatever 20 out of 24 is, I guess 87%. Cam Little.
Yeah.
He said he'd like to increase his accuracy rate to he made plus 90 and thinks if he hadn't kicking into a headwind, he get range maybe 56 yards, expand that a little bit. What kind of camp has he seen, and how do you, as good as he was last year, how could he possibly be in ways to be better?
Well, I guess he could make 24 out of 24. That'd be better than 20 out of 24. What's 20 out of 24? 83.3%? Huh? That's just Grove education, baby. 6 years of PE degree. That's 6 years of professional PE degree at Pitt State. we did a deal the other day, Bob, about value on the team. So value has a definition, so value has a definition. Well, then if you put something in front of value, elite value, some value, kind of value, a little bit of value, but you still have value. Well, I had Cam stand up and talk about his value to the team. He was the most head nod agreement in the building. And I told him at that point, I think he affects the entire team because we know if we can stop them and get the ball back, that we have a chance to win the game on defense. We know that if we have the ball and we can get it anywhere close to the 35, we can win the game. That affects the whole thinking. Because if you're going down there and going, we can go down here, if we don't score a touchdown, we ain't gonna make the kick. That affects everybody. He's got unbelievable value to our team because we think he's gonna make every one of them. Sometimes he doesn't, but I don't know how you get better in 2020. I don't know what the NFL, all that stuff is and all that, but we ain't gonna trade him. I can promise you that. He's got a stronger leg and been very accurate in camp.
A couple more, Jaden Wilson and Miles Slusher. I don't think I've seen them last couple of
Jaden's
days.
fell down, hurt his AC on his shoulder in the spider practice the other day. He won't be out too long. And who, Slush? No, he's fine. Slush is fine.
I feel like every time I turn around, Quincy McAdoo's making a ridiculous catch. Is he making it harder to keep him off the field?
Yeah, I mean, we don't plan on keeping him off, it's just, where do you put him? He's definitely going to travel and he's on special teams now. And, he's certainly working his way up the depth chart. I think he's a really good freshman. As a matter of fact, I think Bakke, him, and Sategna are all 3 hits. And part of it is they're tough. I call them a short wire gang, all 3 of them, because there's something a little screwed up here, but I like it.
In your line, is there a certain area where you've seen them improve in the last 2 weeks?
In
Your
what?
offensive line,
Offensive
area
line.
that you've seen them improve the last 2 weeks?
Well, yeah, I think they've improved in their pass protection. I think that was a big key coming in. Short yardage, we've done better in short yardage on offense and their pass protection. They've been playing together for a while now and really understand each other. The other day, we went into a 2-minute situation and I took Ricky off the field and KJ off the field. And we did it with Fortin and Bo Limmer at center. A lot of times you got to play with somebody in that position before the game so everybody will have confidence in them. And Fortin took us right down the field and the line protected really well. And we kicked the field goal in that situation. So we're trying to get all different people in different spots to do that. But I think we're going to be fine on the O-line, even, to 6 and 7 deep right now. More than that, like you said, if we're healthy.
That cohesion, those guys having played together, why is that important? And how has Luke Jones fit into that, given that he's been with them but had not really been in that position?
Yeah, Luke has played a lot of practice, if that makes sense. Luke's been at center, a left guard, a left tackle last year, all over the place. Been a plug-in guy. He kind of was our plug-in guy. And so, and he's one of the most popular guys in the room. They love the kid. And they're a very, very, very tight-knit group. And so whomever's out there, when Tykees goes out there, they're all pumped up about him as well. But I don't know how you get that cohesiveness unless your position coach makes it that way in his room and the kids accept it. And to me, that's what's going on in there.
Well, school's starting back next week. What's next week look like? When do you start going into Cincinnati prep and stuff like that?
Monday, we're in shells. Tuesday, we'll go full. Wednesday will be spiders. Thursday is when we start Cincinnati. That will be a Monday practice. Friday, we will be in full pads. Saturday is a mock game. And basically what we're trying to do at that point is take the anxiety out of the guys that's never done it and show them where the locker room, what we do, how we stretch, and play a little bit of mock game in situations backed up, 4-minute, things of that nature next Saturday. Sunday, they'll be off. Monday will be a Tuesday practice. Tuesday will be a Wednesday practice. Then we'll have 2 Thursdays, Wednesday and Thursday. Friday, walk, and then play the game.
Coach, Spades are going to kick off, or do you know? Yeah, is that still a competition?
It's a competition. Probably Cam's been the more consistent of the two, but it's definitely a competition. For some reason, Scott wants, Bates to win it. He got to earn it, but so Cam can just concentrate on field goals. But they're really, really close in there. It's just Bates had some unfortunate, kicks last week kicking off. He didn't today, by the way.
Coach, you said before camp started that Rocket, if he's fresh, he's going to get the majority of the carries. You still feel that way?
I do.
Okay.
I do. With AJ and Dominion, probably about equal in there with how many reps they're getting. But Rocket, I said in here last year, said Dominique was going to get more reps and he didn't, so, but I got to do better at that than when I sit up here and tell you something. But Rocket is the feature back. I mean, that's who he is. And that, of course, that's without Dominique back. And then we're going to have 2 feature backs at that point. But we've got 3 good running backs. I believe in every one of them. Rockets just proved it a little bit more, and he's proven that he needs some more reps than those other guys.
We talked about some of the guys on the D line. You talked about how you want to get more pressure with them. Have you noticed anybody who's been getting a little bit more pressure?
Terry
than maybe
Hampton.
before? Okay.
Hampton's hard to block. I mean, he's got built-in leverage. I mean, got to get down there and root him out. He's got a high motor, guy that has done a really good job in there.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.